Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. Russia seizes Ukraine's key nuclear power plant, the biggest in Europe. Look at this Russian shelling which caused a fire at the nuclear plant. It is under control now. The president of Ukraine says that it would have been 6 times worse than Chernobyl, that's what a terrorist state is trying to do. An emergency UN Security Council meet on the Russia attack on the nuclear plant this evening. SOS from Indian students in Sumy in Ukraine. Desperate students reach out. No water to drink. We are melting snow to drink water. The government says buses are just 50 to 60 kilometers away at the Russia border. We are asking Ukraine and Russia for corridors to help move the students. Shot on his leg and chest. A student from a Kyiv hospital speaks to us. The student tells NDTV he was trying to leave Kyiv. He was shot at and injured with bullet injuries. The student tells NDTV, the world now knows my story through you. Please help return me to India and my family. The government says we will pay all his medical costs and are trying to evacuate him. After Russia's takeover of that nuclear plant, European and Asian markets fall. US markets also down. Indian markets collapse by over 1%. Meanwhile, India's biggest state's grand campaign finale, the Prime Minister's huge roadshow in Varanasi. Akhilesh rally this evening on the Prime Minister's home turf, and also today, Rahul and Priyanka at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. And this really is a huge development and bad news on day 9 of the Russia invasion of Ukraine, as Russia has bombed and captured a major nuclear plant in Ukraine. The latest news is there's no radioactive leak, but the UN Security Council will meet on this. Meanwhile, an Indian student who was shot and suffered bullet injuries is in a Kyiv hospital. The center says they'll pay for his care. India also abstains from voting against Russia again at a UN Human Rights Council meet. Meanwhile, a Russian convoy advances in South Ukraine, and Russia shuts down its stock market till next week. Those are the latest developments. But first, let's go across to Vishnu and Jyoti, both of them joining me from different cities in war zone Ukraine. Vishnu, first over to you. Extremely worrying news there about the Russian takeover of Europe's biggest nuclear power plant. We saw the shelling there. Luckily, so far radiation levels seem okay. But what is the fallout of this?
Well, the fallout is huge, and it's absolutely unbelievable that this would actually take place, because if this nuclear power plant were to leak radioactivity, if there was to be a catastrophe, it would be many times worse than what Chernobyl was. This is the only thing people over here are actually talking about. Fortunately, it has been contained. There is no radioactive leak. Stefania joins me now. She's somebody who's actually very worried about the situation. Earlier today, I spoke to somebody who was evacuated from Chernobyl at the age of 5. That has a great deal of concern for him and his family. Remember Chernobyl very much in Ukraine. But the entire issue of the nuclear plant first being attacked, now apparently in Russian control, how is that a huge concern for you and your family? This is something that's going possibly beyond the borders of Ukraine.
Yeah, I thought that I saw yesterday in the evening the most disturbing pictures of Chernihiv, where a huge building complex was totally destroyed. Apparently over 50 people are dead. So many are injured. And I thought that was the most disturbing thing to see. And then I saw the news at night, and the first message that came, it wasn't even confirmed what was on fire, and like everyone started to panic because it's like you said, it's the biggest nuclear power station in Europe, and it's a 6 time, like in Chernobyl there was only 1 block that exploded, and here we have 6 of them. So it's to me, it just got to a point where the terrorism is, it's a whole other level. Even like our President Zelensky said, like never in the entire history of any war was there something like this happening, and everyone is shocked. And after that, we can expect anything now from the Russians. Yeah.
So that is the sense. If they've gone ahead and done that, they can actually end up doing anything. Let's take a look at some of the major developments on the Ukraine front today.
A dramatic firefight at a major nuclear power plant in Ukraine. A part of the plant catches fire. This video shared on Instagram from the official account of Ukrainian President Zelensky appeared to show blasts lighting up the night sky and sending up plumes of smoke. As Russia moved in to seize the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, Europe's largest, raising fears of major Chernobyl-like fallout. President Zelensky took to social media warning about the threat of a possible nuclear disaster.
Європа зараз повинна прокинутися. Горить найбільша атомна станція Європи. Прямо зараз російські танки розстрілюють атомні блоки. Це танки, обладнані тепловізорами. Тобто вони знають, куди стріляють. Вони до цього готували.
It later emerged that the fire was extinguished and that no changes in radiation levels were reported at the plant. The International Atomic Energy Agency said all safety systems at the 6 nuclear units at the power plant are in place and there was no release of radioactivity.
The physical integrity of the plant has been compromised with what happened last night. So we, of course, are fortunate that there was no release of radiation and that the integrity of the reactors in themselves was not compromised, but yes, the plant in a wider sense.
But Russia's move to attack a nuclear power plant has raised the stakes, drawing global condemnation.
You mentioned the reports of active shelling of nuclear sites in Ukraine. That just seems to me to absolutely reinforce the complete breach of any aspects of international law and all aspects of international law that apply here, of the UN Charter, and to reinforce the unlawful behaviour that President Putin is engaged in.
Russia now has control of the plant, as the Ukraine and the world waits on edge for Putin's next move. Bureau Report, NDTV.
And let's go across now to the heart of that war, because really the huge worry as the world watches what's currently going on, but of course huge criticism also of whether the world is being passive with sanctions enough, especially given Russia up in the ante today. Jyoti, tell us what's happening today. It's day 9 of the invasion. We've been told that the Russian convoy, the 64-kilometer long convoy, is just about 20 kilometers outside Kyiv. It's running out of food and fuel. What are you hearing where you are? What is it like in Kyiv today? And some Russian media reporting that President Zelensky has fled Ukraine, but seems to be no truth in that.
Yes, Sonia. So in regards to Zelensky, it doesn't appear that that is the case. In terms of the city, if you can maybe look behind me here, there's cranes just setting up barricades right in the center of the city. The military actually just asked me to move further down because of danger, and these barricades specifically, they are setting basically in the heart of the center. So they are getting ready to prepare. They are preparing for tonight. And yes, this convoy that is sitting just outside of Kyiv, they may be running low on supplies, but no one is taking any chances here. Just within the past hour, there have been 4 large, heavy explosions very close to the center. So the Russians are attacking from the north and the south and the east and the west. Regardless of where that convoy is sitting, this city is ready for anything and something for anything tonight.
Right, Jyoti, as always, we hope you stay safe and stay careful. But it's day 9 of the invasion, Ukraine fighting back. But of course, the sheer number of the Russian forces is outnumbering Ukraine, but a brave fight back. Thanks so much, Jyoti, for joining us from Kyiv. But let's go across for India. What is the major focus? And that's the Indian students still left. The government said that there are a few hundreds of students left, but the big focus is now the SOS messages coming in from the city of Sumy, where bombings have stepped up. Now, Sumy is just around 50 to 60 kilometers from Russia's border, and students here say they can't travel across to the safe borders, which the Indian embassy has suggested, because they have no way to actually get out of their bunkers. Listen to this appeal.
हम लोग सारे सूमी में फंसे हुए हैं स्टार्टिंग से इधर। अभी तक कोई रेस्क्यू, एक भी स्टूडेंट की रेस्क्यू नहीं की गई है यहाँ से। और यहाँ पे रोज बम धमाके हो रहे हैं। कल रात में भी बहुत बड़ी बम धमाके हुई थी यहाँ पे। कल रात से इलेक्ट्रिसिटी गायब थी 2-4 घंटे के लिए। कल रात से पानी गायब है यहाँ पे। हम लोग कल का खाए हुए हैं, कल रात में ही खाए। यहाँ से बॉर्डर जो है काफी दूर है। यहाँ से अगर हम खार्किव होते हुए अगर जाते भी है तो यहाँ से खार्किव कम से कम जाने में 4-5 घंटे लगेंगे। यहाँ से कीव जाने में 4-5 घंटे लगेंगे। फिर वहां से हमको गांव होकर के फिर हमको बॉर्डर तक, हंगरी बॉर्डर तक पहुंचना पड़ेगा, जो कि वहां से भी खार्किव से 1000 किलोमीटर है। 10 से 12 घंटे लगेंगे खार्किव से बॉर्डर से जाने में। न ही रेलवेज की कोई फैसिलिटीज है, रेलवे डिस्ट्रॉय है, फैसिलिटीज ट्रांसपोर्टिंग की नहीं है। स्टार्टिंग से हम लोग के लिए कुछ नहीं किया जा रहा है। कुछ बच्चे निकले थे नाइजीरियन, कुछ फॉरेनर बच्चे निकले थे जो कि रास्ते में ही उनको शूट कर दिया गया, जो कि हम लोगों के पास वीडियोस भी पड़ी हुई है। इस डर से इंडियन से एक भी बच्चा नहीं निकला, अभी तक यहाँ से नहीं जा रहा है। गवर्नमेंट का वेट कर रहा है कि गवर्नमेंट हम लोगों की हेल्प करेगी, बट अभी तक गवर्नमेंट का हम लोगों के लिए कुछ अभी तक कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं आई है। कुछ कह रहे हैं बसेस खड़ी हुई है, बट बसेस खड़ी करने से नहीं होगी रशियन बॉर्डर पे। रशिया बॉर्डर ही हम लोग के सिर्फ करीब है। यहाँ से 20 से 25 मिनट टाइम लगेगा रशिया बॉर्डर पहुंचने में, बट रशिया बॉर्डर पे खड़ी करने से नहीं होगी। हम लोग सुमी में फंसे हुए हैं।
Plans are there. This is the core issue. A ceasefire, local ceasefire, alternative. We've been asking both sides. Alternatively, some mechanism under which either of the sides could organize transport. Probably less than 1,000 overall in the country, other than the east who are stuck, and this Pisochin, leaving aside Pisochin, Kharkiv and Sumy, maybe around 1,000 or so who would want to, maybe less, because look, 20,000 plus have crossed over.
Well, let's go across live now to Sumy. We are joined by different groups of girls and boys who are still stuck there. Ishika Sarkar and Mohammad Mehtab Raza, thank you very much. First, Mehtab, we just saw you making that impassioned appeal to the government saying, please save us. The government has responded saying they're working on getting you to those buses. So what would you like to say now? Are you hopeful now that the government is saying they know what's happening, they've seen your video appeals, and they will try to get you out as soon as possible?
No, ma'am. We are expecting from Government of India will be good decision for us. We are waiting for decisions of Government of India. Still, we are waiting for decisions. Yesterday 7 p.m. Around 7 p.m. big explosion in Sumy. You show in video all told about this. Right now, we are just waiting for Government of India what he will decide, when will tell us time, when will reach airport, how will be provide security, how will go from here. Just we are waiting for decision. Government of India, what will be decide for us?
Yes, and we are waiting, in fact, hopefully some response. We are seeing those buses which are waiting at the Russia border. Ishika, what would you like to say? What is it like for you there? How are you managing, and your other friends there managing? How many are there of you? Because we just had the government say that there are a few hundreds. How many are there of you currently in Sumy?
Ma'am, actually it's not 200. It's more than that, and it's nearly around 800 to 900 students who are stranded over here. The basic amenities are not here available for us. As my friends already told you, there has been a massive blast across the power plant near to Polytech. And for that reason, we were having no electricity. And right now, people are traveling at least 1 to 2 kilometers to just get a basic amenity for the basic need for their drinking water. And this is so disheartening because the weather is not at all good. More than that, it's not really safe to move out at this moment, because if the civilians are in threat, so are we as a student, and everybody is risking their life, because if in any moment they allow us to evacuate from here, we should have the store of at least food or water with us. There can be scarcity of food. Actually, the food is now limited over here. People are just surviving on their basics. Nobody is actually consuming proper food, so that they are not.
In fact, Ishika Mehtab, we hear you. That is why we want your voices to go out to the government. They're listening. They've said just now in a press conference that they're trying to get as soon as possible. It sounds horrible at this time, but just stay safe. Stay safe. We're all with you, and we will try our best to raise your voices so that the government can hear you, and we hope the Russian and Ukrainian governments also see this humanitarian crisis.
Yes. Both governments.
But that, and actually give that safe corridors to get you to the Sumy border.
If only Russia will be agree, it's not a possible move from where.
Yes,
you understand.
We have to get you to those Russian borders where we can see the buses waiting for you. Stay safe.
Yes.
We are with you. We are with you in every possible way. Stay safe. And this is what Harjot Singh also just spoke to NDTV this morning. Speaking to Rishika, he said that he actually had left Kyiv along with a group of friends when the Indian embassy told him to evacuate. But they had hired a taxi and he was shot. He has injuries in his leg and his chest, bullet injuries. And here's what he actually said about what happened to him and his voice going out to the government again.
When I go to the platform about to board, they will be the army and everyone. They don't allow Indians to board in the train. Then after that, I was meet with a few guys and we discuss and prefer to go by car. And we hired a taxi. Maybe it was AK-47. I don't know properly, but I can hear the voice that many people can fire. Many people was firing on us, and one bullet was in my chest from this side. My mom, family, they all cried when they saw my face like this, because this is unexpected, ma'am. Why my one leg is totally fractured. I can't run, I can't walk, so I need a facility that if someone took me from the airport, from the hospital to Lviv city, then there is no problem, ma'am. But they said you should come on that place. After that you will be. After that we will think about that. We take you from there. Then you do. But like all the things, you can say that like fake comments. बहुत बच्चा फंसा हुआ है. ये सिर्फ एक हरजोत सिंह की बात नहीं है. ऐसे बड़े हरजोत फंसे हुए हैं मैम. तभी मैं उस दिन से कंटिन्यूसली एम्बेसी से बात कर रहा हूँ कि सर आप प्रोवाइड करवाइए फैसिलिटी कुछ तो करवाइए. आप लोग तो हमसे पहले जाके बैठ गए हैं लवीव में, और जबकि एम्बेसी का मतलब क्या होता है, पहले अपने बंदों को देखना.
4 दिन तक तो उसका फोन नहीं आया जी. तो उसके बाद परसों दोपहर को उसका फोन आया. फिर उसने बताया कि मुझे ऐसे करके मम्मी गोलियां लगी हैं. तो वो उस टाइम हॉस्पिटल में था. तो क्योंकि गोलियां लगने के बाद वो 4 दिन के बाद उसको होश आया. वो होश ही उसको हॉस्पिटल में आके आया. तो फिर उसने परसों हमें फ़ोन करके बताया कि मैं ऐसे करके बैठा हूँ. तो उसको 4 गोलियां लगी हैं. एक उसका पैर मेरे ख्याल टूटा है, प्लास्टर चढ़ा हुआ है.
चिंता तो हमें बहुत हो गई थी भाई क्यों फ़ोन नहीं कर रहा, क्यों टीवी में देखते थे कि लड़ाई लग गई है. तो हम ये सोच रहे थे कि चलो ठीक है हमारा लड़का सुरक्षित है, कहीं भी है. बहुत चिंता थी. हम तो सारा दिन रात के 1-1 बजे तक टीवी लगा के बैठते थे. NDTV लगाना और उसमें रिपोर्ट देखते रहते थे भाई क्या हो रहा. मेरा बच्चा तो ठीक है, मेरे को तकलीफ है, मेरा बेटा है. मैं कहता जिन माओं के बेटे बाहर हैं सबको सही सलामत उनको यहाँ वापस पहुँचाया जाए.
What a brave family there, and we will keep tracking that story till Harjot is back home safe with his family. But let's go across to the other news. Well, the Prime Minister, after holding a review meet this morning, is in Varanasi, his parliamentary constituency, and this, of course, a show of strength for him before the final leg of India's biggest states campaign and voting here on Monday. So the Prime Minister there in Varanasi. Of course, there today also Akhilesh Yadav and Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi. Sanket is tracking all this.
आज वाराणसी में बैटल ऑफ द रोड शोज हो रही है. हर तरफ रोड शो. एक तरफ रोड शो प्रियंका और राहुल गांधी का, दूसरी तरफ रोड शो अखिलेश यादव का, और अब एक रोड शो प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी का. क्या इससे फर्क पड़ेगा भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पक्ष में? यहां पर पिछली बार 2017 में बीजेपी ने बहुत ही जबरदस्त प्रदर्शन दिखाया था. यहां पर जितनी विधानसभा क्षेत्र हैं 8 हैं, उन 8 में से 8 बीजेपी के जो घटक दल हैं और बीजेपी उनको गई थी. लेकिन इस बार स्थानीय जो विधायक हैं, विधायक के प्रत्याशी हैं, उनके खिलाफ गुस्सा है, रोष है. जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं, प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी द्वारा एक प्रयास किया जा रहा है कि कम से कम उनका जो गृह क्षेत्र है जहां से वो खुद सांसद हैं, वहां पर प्रदर्शन गड़बड़ ना हो. स्थानीय नेताओं के खिलाफ और जिस तरीके से समाजवादी पार्टी और अन्य जो दल हैं वो लगातार सवाल उठा रहे हैं बेरोजगारी का, वो तमाम सवाल उठा रहे हैं, सांड के मुद्दे हैं और बहुत सारे मुद्दे हैं जो कि इस चुनाव में हावी हैं। क्या इस रोड शो के माध्यम से एक संदेश दिया जा रहा है वाराणसी में कि गढ़ को मजबूती से, पूर्वांचल के गढ़ को मजबूती से बचाया जा सके? उसामा शाह और सचिन गुप्ता के साथ संकेत उपाध्याय, NDTV।